What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Hops Geek News, a podcast that talks about comic books, movies, TV show, and we typically have a beer of the week. Today's episode is going to be all about Lego. As you know, I am a devoted Lego collector, lover. Who isn't these days? And so we're going to be talking about the history of Legos, some of our favorite sets that we have and own, and all the good jazz, all the hot goss about Lego. But first,
everything is awesome.
True. Everything is cool when you always forget the rest of the words, but
everything is cool when you're part of a team.
Everything is cool when you remember where to find us. So if you want to find us, go ahead, search Hops Geek News on any podcasting platform that you may think of or you listen on. You'll probably find us there. Any social media platform as well. TikTok, we are on there. Follow my adventure as I talk about Supernatural on there mostly. And then we have Instagram, Twitter, join our Facebook page. And if you want to support the show, go to patreon.com/HopsGeekNews, become a Patreon. You get to pick episode topics. We give you a nice little care package. You get episodes early, all that cool jazz. And then if you want to buy any sort of merch, we have t-shirts for sale on HopsGeekNews.threadless.com. That's where you can find our stuff. So yeah, I am not.
Shout out to our newest Patreon, Carlos.
Yes.
By the time this airs, your Patreon package will be in the mail.
Shout out to Carlos, man. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for coming along. It's I hope you enjoy. Thanks for coming and hanging out with us. Really appreciate that. So with that said, Lauren, what are you drinking? What is the beer of the week this week? Because I am still in the midst of an alcohol-free month. I swear to God, I don't need to go to rehab.
This is another okay, so this is a Tripping Animals. I thought it was an IPA and I poured it.
God, get some new material.
Not like an IPA. It is not an IPA. It's a sour and I thought it was an IPA.
Oof.
I was in an IPA mood, but I guess we're going sour. So this is a sour ale conditioned with toasted coconut, Florida orange, pineapple, sweet cherry, and marshmallow.
Well,
I don't know why,
good.
but marshmallow works so well in sours.
It does.
You really I get the pineapple, big time pineapple.
Ooh, pineapple and marshmallow just sound like they're two flavors that shouldn't work together, but they somehow do.
It is quite delicious. It's a little bit sweet and then a tiny bit tart, which is honestly how I like sours. I don't like them when they're just puckery like a warhead.
Well, that and sours can't be too sweet. Like there's a couple sours that I've had that are just way too sweet and it turns me off too because you got to find that balance, the really good balance in between.
All about balance.
It's true. Balance in life, everything you do.
Well, I used to soak my warheads in a cup of water when I was a kid to get the really sour away. And then I would suck on it when it was a little bit sour and sweet. So I feel
I remember that. Those days.
That is what I pursue in a beer. And so it's called Fruits of Olympus, if I didn't already say that. And so the can, one of the reasons I drank this a few months ago and I took a picture of it with some Legos. And then I was like, hey, I should drink that again tonight so I can post the picture with the Legos because it's Zeus.
It's true. Well, we did do a Lego episode once, but that episode somehow got lost to the void. So surprise, we're doing a Lego episode that will actually get heard. So yeah. Also, January 22nd, Clerks Day. So as you can see, I got the Movies hat. Shout out to Sean. And if you want some cool Clerks merch, they don't pay us to say this. I'm just a diehard fan of this brand. Roosevelt's, rsvlts.com. They have a whole Kevin Smith Clerks collection. You can get like the Movies purple and yellow shirt. You get the one that I'm wearing here, which is Jay and Silent Bob. A lot of cool shirts. And just got to, we had Dante and Randall, Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson on the show once upon a time, which we'd love to talk about. So happy Clerks Day if you are listening to this on release day. If not, hey, I hope you celebrated Clerks Day in the way that you know best. In that said, let's roll into, we don't have anything that we messed up on last week. I didn't listen to the episode. Nobody called us out on anything. So I'm guessing you did and we didn't have anything.
Not that I know of.
Look at that.
I didn't listen to the whole thing, but
we're turning a new leaf. Turning a new leaf here. So let's go into what we've read or watched. What have you been reading or watching lately?
Not too much. I'm still on Stargirl, and I gotta say the first season was definitely the best. Because now they're kind of getting a little bit into acting like children. So like the first season is like Luke Wilson trying to like wrangle these children and telling them they're being ridiculous. Well, now I have issues when high schoolers in movies and TV shows are treated like adults because they're not. If you want to treat them like an adult in a matter of respect and like trusting them and trying to teach them respect goes both ways kind of thing, and trust goes both ways, I'm all for that. Don't baby teenagers. But also they can be fucking idiots. And in this show, they're getting like that a little bit. And then they're like, oh, I can't believe you told me this. I'm just going to fight you and not actually listen to what you're saying. And I cannot stand that in any storyline whatsoever. It's why I stopped watching Grey's Anatomy like 10 years ago. And somehow that show is still going strong.
Without Grey. Dr. Grey's not even on the show anymore.
Are you serious?
She recently left. Yeah, she just recently left. She's not even on the show anymore.
Wow. So this is honestly just a nighttime soap opera at this point. It's just, wow.
Yes.
That's insane.
Yeah, she just recently left. After 19 years or whatever. She's not even on the show, so I don't know how it's Grey's Anatomy anymore, but
I mean, I watched it for a while, but the day like Josh told someone I watched it and I was embarrassed, I'm like, why am I still watching this? I don't even enjoy watching it anymore. But it was like, I started the show, I have to finish it.
That's fair.
And that's when I learned you don't.
It never ends, actually.
So I watched a couple episodes. Bad Batch is back. I've been watching it with my 5-year-old and he talks the whole time, but he's super into it. So I think I talked about it last week and he was watching it again with me this week and he's really into it. But then when he starts asking me if people like Commander Cody are a good guy or a bad guy, and I'm like,
that's a story for another time, kid, because it's a little complicated. It's a little complicated. My 7-year-old's got to watch it. I've only seen episode 1 of this season 2. Bad Batch doesn't hold me like other Star Wars shows, and I love Star Wars, so I don't know what it is about Bad Batch. And I'm just like, meh, whatever.
The episodes, the last 3 have been, it's only 3, and I didn't watch the one from yesterday morning. They've been very short, and they are quick, but watching them with Logan where he's talking the whole time, it's definitely different. Yeah. So there's not a phone check test or anything like that, because I'm literally talking to him, and I'm kind of just excited that he is getting into it. And then he kept asking where Ahsoka was. Well, why haven't I seen Ahsoka? Where's Ahsoka?
Boy, just wait till he gets a little older and then you can just take all of his hopes and dreams away.
So this morning I did put on that 90s show.
How was it?
It's all right. It's kind of hard these days, I feel like, to watch shows with laugh tracks. It just feels weird.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It feels like forced humor. And I really like that 70s show, but it's cute. A lot of callbacks. They're bringing everybody back. I only watched the first episode and a half, but the only reason I'm mentioning it is because in the second episode, the girl goes to like a Blockbuster-esque type, to go rent a video, and she's looking for Clerks. And Clerks has been checked out by the same person for like 3 weeks. And I don't remember if it's Cheech or Chong. I think it's Tommy Chong that's on the show. I always get them confused, as I'm sure a lot of people do. But the one that was always on that 70s show, he has Clerks and he's had it for 3 weeks. And that's where I had to go pick up the kids and turn it off. So
okay, that's kind of good. That's funny. I mean,
never got into 1995.
Oh, I didn't know. Yeah, I never got into the show, but I did see a clip of Kelso and Jackie come back, and Red Foreman was about to blow a gasket. Ha ha ha! But that show was just never my cup of tea. I guess I didn't really care about it, so I'm probably not ever going to watch that 90s show.
Well, I've watched random ones on syndication, but I always thought it was cute and funny.
Yeah, that's fair. It's different strokes for different folks, or
and syndication isn't even like a thing, I feel like, anymore. I mean, for some people it is, obviously, but
right. Did you watch anything else? Anything good? Was that it?
I don't know. Did I?
I don't know.
If I did, I don't remember.
I haven't read anything. It's kind of a problem. I have a giant stack of comic books that never seems to go down because I just haven't read anything.
I read some Wolverine comics. They were pretty good. I actually posted the last 3 issues of the Wolverine run I'm currently reading on Instagram today.
Very nice. Very nice. I've been watching Supernatural, of course. That's what I've been going through, which check out our bonus episodes if you want to hear how I feel about Supernatural. Yes, I'm going to pull that card because we're vlogging.
Yeah, I guess it is vlogging. Every time you text me that you're watching a specific episode, I'll put it on.
Oh, look at that. Yeah. So I'm on season 2. That's all I'll say about that. Speaking of season 2, I did finish season 2 of White Lotus. I don't know if I finished it last week. I talked about it or what it was, but regardless, I finished it. I did like the season a lot. Again, you just hate these characters so much, and it's still a good show. I'm very curious how they would do a season 3. Of course, I mean, I'm not curious how they could do it. They could do it. and you come out feeling bad for a couple of characters, and it does turn into like a murder mystery type thing. And but Jennifer Coolidge, she won a Golden Globe, and she kind of thanked Mike White for bringing her back.
I was wondering what she won for.
Yeah,
please don't tell me it was a terrible House movie.
No, it was White Lotus. So
okay.
I did
series.
Watch Devotion. So that has Glenn Powell of Top Gun 2 fame, and of course Jonathan Majors of Kang fame and Creed 3. And so that movie, I didn't know anything about it. I love war movies. Didn't know anything going in. I just thought it was like a made up movie about World War II pilots. Well, stupid me. It's a true story about Korean War pilots. So this is the beginning of Korean War. Jonathan Majors is the only African-American pilot in his crew. And they kind of go through about how like, hey, this is what it's like being a black man in America during these times. And I thought also going in that Glenn Powell was going to be like, I'm a white man in the 50s and have that natural conflict. But no, that wasn't the case at all. Again, I didn't know anything about the story. Go in without knowing anything about the story, and it's going to crush you, because what happens in this movie is very unexpected. So good. It's not your stereotypical war movie.
What's it on?
So good. It's on Peacock. Or no, not Peacock. I'm sorry, Paramount Plus. And I can give you my Paramount Plus login on the logo.
No, you can't. We don't do that.
Just kidding. We don't share that. But no, it's good. Jonathan Majors can act his ass off. Like him and Glenn Powell were so damn good. And I want to see Glenn Powell in so much more TV shows, movies. I don't care. Give me more of that guy. And then, of course, freaking Jonathan Majors, man, like we saw he can, like my first introduction to him as an actor was Loki, and you kind of see that goofy vibe of him. Well, this is very different departure. He is a very serious, emotional, and it hits. It freaking hits.
He was the douchebag in Top Gun. Obviously not Jonathan Majors. Glenn Powell. I just had to Google
Powell.
him.
Yeah, he's total opposite in this movie. Total opposite.
When he was in Hidden Figures and The Dark Knight Rises.
Glenn Powell was?
Yeah.
Who is he in The Dark Knight Rises? That's okay.
I don't know. Give me a minute. I'm like, he looks young.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't know he was in that movie, but no, man, they both phenomenal actors. So go watch Devotion. It's on Paramount Plus. And then I also watched Amsterdam, which is on HBO Max, starring Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, who is great. And then Anya Taylor-Joy, she's in this. Chris Rock is in this. So Mike Myers makes an appearance. Michael Shannon makes an appearance. Taylor Swift and Timothy Olyphant and Zoe Saldana, Robert De Niro, Rami Malek.
Wait, what was this in?
This is Amsterdam. This is
all of those people were in that movie.
It is. I had no idea about this movie. I knew this movie's name, and I knew Christian Bale was in it. Nothing else. We put it on one night, and it's in the 1930s. Three friends witness a murder. They're framed for it, and then they uncover one of the most outrageous plots in American history. Well, apparently, this is also based on a true story. I had no idea. I don't want to spoil what the plot is and how it unfolds, but Margot Robbie, John David Washington, and Christian Bale are the three friends. They're World War I heroes. Christian Bale was a doctor who was put into John David Washington's company. Robert De Niro was kind of like a head general, all this kind of stuff. Yeah.
And what's this on? It's
on HBO Max. I had no idea about this movie at all. It was freaking good. It only got a 6.1 on IMDb, but literally this movie was good. I enjoyed the heck out of it. Christian Bale is very goofy in it. John David Washington, another phenomenal actor. Like if you've seen anything that he plays in, he just amazing. Margot Robbie, you know what you're getting with Margot Robbie. And then just everybody kept popping up.
Gorgeous.
Yeah, everybody kept popping up. And every time somebody popped up, I was like, the Leo. What I do with Supernatural, right? That's my thing. Right. Like Supernatural, I'm doing that. But with this movie, I was like, he's in this movie? And then somebody else would pop up and I'm like, he's in this movie? And I was like, she's in this movie? It was no.
How much did the casting alone cost for this movie?
No kidding. But yeah, no, it's worth the watch. If you've got 2 hours of your time and you don't know what to watch, or you actually make 2 hours of your time, watch Amsterdam. It's
nice.
Highly worth it. And yeah,
so
that's all I watched.
Glenn Powell was traitor number 1 in The Dark Knight Rises.
Ah, traitor number 1. Like, interesting. Hey, you know what? He can say he was in a Batman movie. Okay.
Sounds good.
Good for him. Good for him. Yeah. That's all I've done. So let's roll into some news. News. The Penguin spinoff, according to Matt Reeves, is going to tie into the Batman sequel. This is kind of being, they described it as the Penguin Scarface moment, which I'm guessing is his rise to power. When we leave him in the Batman, he is like a lower henchman. He just now starts to maybe take over things. So I wonder if we'll see like more of the Iceberg Lounge and his rise to power in the HBO Max TV show that he's supposed to be getting. We got the original Power Rangers. There's 2 of them are going to be coming back for Walter Jones, and David Yost are coming back for the 30th anniversary for the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers special. And Amy Jo Johnson said she is not in it. And then obviously Jason David Frank, they confirmed that he was not in it. He turned it down as well. So those 2 won't be in it, but the Green and Black Ranger are coming, or green, the Blue and Black Ranger are coming back for the 30th anniversary special. Comixology just laid off like thousands of workers. So Comixology is an online database where you can subscribe and read comics. Well, they dumped like 10,000 workers. So, or maybe it's not that much, but there were a lot of people who were like, I've worked here for 10 years. I don't know anything else. And I got the notification this morning. I got laid off. And so I'm very curious what this means for the company's future. Is this because Scott Snyder, pretty much, he's probably one of the biggest pools for them. His comics are on Comixology. Like he's doing original comics solely for Comixology. You can't get them in print. So like they have ties to some really big creators. So I'm not sure what this means for the company going forward. I guess we'll see. It was kind of a surprise if you ask me. Nobody had any idea this was going to happen. John Locke actually confirmed that he's begun filming for Agatha Coven of Chaos. So that show has begun filming. I believe it's due to release at the end of this year. I could be wrong unless there's any setbacks. And then Catherine Hahn actually said that she confirmed that they're writing new music kind of along the line of Agatha all along for the show.
Well, that's fun.
It's going to be pretty exciting. If you're a fan of the newest Gossip Girl on HBO Max, that got canceled. I've never watched it.
I didn't even know that show had come back. I didn't watch the old one or the new one.
XOXO Gossip Girl, no more. How about Tron?
What are you going to do?
Were you big in Tron? I've never cared about the movies Tron, but it's a very big franchise. Was this something
I've
that you liked?
seen them both. I could take them or leave them, but
all right.
I mean, it's a lot of talk lately in Disney World because we're about to get the ride.
That's what it was. Yeah. Well, Tron Ares is in the works and Jared Leto is supposed to star. Yuck. So Joachim Roning is going to direct it, but yeah, Jared Leto is in talks to star in Tron Ares. I could personally do without Jared Leto in anything ever again. That's me. But if you're big,
I was surprised they were taking him into consideration, honestly.
Yeah, honestly, I am too, because there's so many better people, but whatever. This isn't a podcast to bash Jared Leto, although he deserves it. But last but not least, there was a Scream 6 trailer and poster that dropped today, which kind of shows Ghostface kicking some serious ass. And Hayden Panettiere is back as Kirby. You see Jenna Ortega and her crew getting stalked in a bodega in New York. And then they go on the train. Ghostface blasts somebody with a shotgun. People are like, oh, Ghostface shouldn't use a shotgun. But in my opinion, what the lore they built up with Ghostface only using knives, this kind of makes him scary because now he's unpredictable, or she is unpredictable. And my theory is that maybe there's like a cult based off Reddit, like we saw in the last Scream movie, that kind of plays into this somehow. Or maybe Stu comes back, like people have been asking. That'd be pretty cool. And then you see Gail Weathers, played by Courtney Cox. She seems to have a pretty good role in this. She takes on Ghostface at a point. So does she die? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. Could be. So yeah, Neve Campbell, clearly not in this movie, unless they were just deep faking us, the hard swerving us with we're not paying her enough. She's not in it. Surprise, she is in it, which would be pretty freaking sweet that they kept that under the wraps. And yeah, that's coming out March 10th. So make sure to see that. It takes place in New York City. Gonna be pretty badass. That's all the news I got.
So Disney just ordered 40 new episodes of Phineas and Ferb. Madam
My
Web
son is rejoicing right now. If you can hear that noise, my son heard this and he's going crazy right now.
See, I was a little too old for that, so I never really got into it.
He's 7. Okay, Lauren, calm down. Of course, you didn't get into it, but he's 7.
But you got excited too. Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Maybe Kaylee was too old for it.
I never watched it.
Okay.
I'm just saying he watched it and he likes the soundtrack, so we've listened to the soundtrack.
Gotcha. So Madam Web has finished filming. Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur is a new animated show coming to Disney and Disney Plus this February. It will be February 10th on the Disney Channel and February 15th on Disney Plus.
That sounds cool.
There is a documentary in the works about the Star Wars Holiday Special, which I find hilarious. Like George Lucas literally like bought every copy to try to make this like disappear and never to be heard from again. And
Kathleen Kennedy's like, not today, George.
Now they're making a documentary about it. I'm really looking forward to that.
Oh yeah.
Megan has been given the green light for 2025.
That was a good movie, man. I enjoyed that movie.
I'm hearing a lot of good things about it.
It was a trip.
So the cartoon Biker Mice from Mars are coming back with toys and a new TV series. This one I had never heard of, but it looked a little familiar. And like, I think comicbook.com had shared it. So I figured it was worth sharing. So they last aired in 1996. And that's all the news I got.
I've literally never heard of this a day in my life. A day in my life. Never.
Well, there you go. Now you have.
Biker Mice from Mars. Are they aliens? Do they actually come from mice? Do they ride motorcycles? Are they like a motorcycle?
They're actually mice on little motorcycles.
That is adorable.
You can find the thing in our stories at the moment.
Ah, okay. See, I don't mess with the Instagram too much. Lauren does. So I should pay better attention, I guess. Interesting. All right. Well, that's a lot to be excited for. There was some good news this week. A lot of good news. And the news never stops, folks. So we'll be right back in just a second. We're going to roll into Legos. We're going to talk about Legos. Like I said, the history, kind of when it was founded, all that good stuff, and our favorite Lego sets, along with some letters to the editor. We'll see you in just a moment.
Hey everyone. I don't have much time, so I'm just going to get right to the point. My name is Jordan Arith, and I host a podcast called Hop Heroes. Myself and 2 of my good friends discuss comic book stories while drinking delicious craft beer. You can find us on...
What's up, bro? What's going on here?
Oh, hey, Zach. JR, how's it going?
It's going well, man. What are you up to?
Oh, you know, nothing much. Just talking to myself, practicing lines. You know the drill.
Oh, really? Because it sounded like you were recording the promo without us. And I'm just really confused as to why you would go and do something like that.
I wasn't recording without you guys. And why did you knock when you came on? It's a podcast. That doesn't even make any fucking sense.
Hello, everyone. This is Zach Barlow, the host of Hop Heroes podcast.
You're not the host.
I am joined weekly by my counterparts, Jordan and JR, and we will break down Great Brew and discuss the comic book universe. You can find me every Wednesday on all podcast platforms, and these guys will be there as well, I guess.
This is probably why he didn't want you on the promo, Zach.
I'm the host of the show.
Welcome back, folks. Like I said, we're talking Legos. So, Lauren, why don't you kick us off by telling us when and how Legos were founded?
Well, should we go into our polls, or you want to save that for the end?
Save that for the end.
Oh, all right. We'll save the polls for the end.
Save it. Build suspense.
Dun, dun, dun. This fucking laptop, man. So, Legos. Lego was founded in 1932 by the this is why you wanted me to start, huh? Christiansen family that still runs it today. They are a private company based in Denmark. Lego actually comes from the Danish word leg-goat. So it's leg, L-E-G, and then goat, G-O-D-T.
The leg gods.
Meaning play well. However, in Latin, Lego actually means I put together, but this was apparently a coincidence. So that's a really good coincidence.
I put together my life, Lego, because that's how I feel every time I build a Lego set. Putting together bliss.
Old Kurt Christensen. So started the company putting his carpentry skills to use and making wooden toys. It wasn't until 1946 that he had plastic toys, and in 1949 is when he first started making the Lego bricks. The actual bricks at first were called automatic binding bricks. In 1953, they officially became Lego bricks.
Yay. Well, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
The Lego brick we know today, though, did not show up until 1958. That's when my dad was born.
Crazy. Well, in 1960, an actual fire destroyed the wooden toy production facility, and they just stopped making them at that point. I actually have a lot of questions. I kind of feel like, so they just stopped Lego altogether? Because it sounds a bit fishy that right after the Lego brick shows up, the wooden toy parts burn down. So, like, did they get insurance money?
They are more flammable.
I'm interested. All right, whatever. Anyways, in 1968, we got the very first Lego park in Denmark. The Lego figure was not actually introduced until 10 years later in 1978. However, in 1996, Lego.com went live. As you know, the internet was a beautiful place back then. It was
cheaper, as long as your mom wasn't on the phone.
That's true. Mom, I'm trying to talk to my crush right now. Get off. She's only on.
Bring me some meatloaf.
God. In 1999, Lego was actually voted the toy of the century. Do you know how badass it is? You're not toy of the year. You are a toy of the century. Well, to be fair, there weren't a lot of options from like 1900 to 1999. Like toys didn't really become intricate until after this, but Legos.
There's a lot of toys in the 80s and 90s.
That's actually true. Like action figures and Transformers and stuff actually really became big.
Yeah, Game Boy and Teddy Ruxpin.
That is true. I take that back.
Optimus Prime.
I take this back. My bad. I take that back.
Moon Dreamers.
Well, why don't you tell us what happens in the 2000s? Oh, yeah.
So welcome to the 2000s. Lego gets its first store in Cologne, Germany, which is also the birth of Kolsch. I believe that's the beer that it's the birth of. Kolsch. So since we are also a beer podcast, I had it in my notes. We can't not mention that Cologne, Germany wasn't just the first place a Lego store showed up. It was the first birthplace of the Kolsch beer style. So like Matt said before, we lost this episode. So I did all this research about a year ago. So yeah, look at that. Okay.
Sitting on it. Just sitting on it, waiting for the moment. Thanks, Riley. You brought it back out.
It wasn't until 2004 that the first non-yellow face showed up, which is actually pretty racist if you think about it.
Yeah, just a little.
How is that even possible? Like, think how many characters you would have thought that they would have had. All right. In 2012, Lego Friends was introduced. This was a great way to get girls into Legos as they had somehow become targeted at boys. And both of my girls actually started with Lego Friends, and now they just have Harry Potter, Marvel, and Star Wars. Both of them, their rooms are covered in all three sets of those Legos, and, you know, they're 10 and 19. So why don't you tell us about everything awesome?
Everything is awesome. If you're Chris Pratt, that is. Anyways, everything was awesome because in 2014, the Lego movie had premiered and it spawned a sequel, Lego Movie 2, and Lego Batman coming from that. So it was very important that everything seen on screen could actually be assembled by hand with Lego bricks, real life Lego bricks. Some of the more complex set pieces were put to test at Lego headquarters in Denmark for structural integrity. If you remember, Lord Business was actually Will Ferrell, and he had this whole Lego set up in his basement. He didn't want his kid to touch it, and I can relate to that. But I think he was just doing it for architectural business purposes, not for pure blissful purposes. He was in it for the wrong reasons, folks. Anyways.
Damn you, Will Ferrell.
That bastard. The movie itself actually contains 3,863,484 unique Lego bricks. That's insane.
That's a lot of Legos.
That's a lot of Legos, man. I like props. That's a lot of Legos, which some of them are actually reused and reconfigured in multiple scenes. But if you wanted to recreate the entire movie by hand, you would actually need 15,080,330 Lego pieces. Lord, speaking of Lord business, Lord, that's some cheddar. Man, think about it. 3,000 pieces Lego set. That's probably about a few $100. 15 million. Holy smokes.
Yeah, Legos
That's insane.
cheap.
Legos are not cheap anymore, folks. Not cheap. But the Lego Corporation was actually very hands-on for this film. If the filmmakers needed a particular piece developed, they were quick to produce the options. Actors in the animated movies recorded alone most of the time, but some of the scenes were actually recorded together with Elizabeth Banks, Chris Pratt, and Will Arnett, which Will Arnett played Batman, if you remember, in order to convey more authenticity. This was Morgan Freeman's first animated movie. He said it was actually harder than he expected, which, I mean, there's a big difference in voice acting and regular acting, right? I mean, voice acting, you're by yourself, like they were more often than not. So you have to come up with these emotions, come up with these conversations, how they would play out, versus acting against a human being. You can kind of play off and do your own thing sometimes, unless you're working for George Lucas in the prequel series. But so, yeah, I mean, I can imagine for somebody as esteemed as Morgan Freeman to come into the animated realm after decades of building up your repertoire as an actor. Yeah, I don't doubt it was hard.
You probably have to use more of an imagination too.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
I mean, like we all heard Sebastian Stan was not the best in What If.
No, but it's fun watching the video of him recording in What If, because he's all over. He's getting into it. So
no, he's trying.
He tried his hardest. All right. So again, it's not everybody can just come off the streets from regular acting and go into voice acting. So Morgan Freeman did a great job. The directors,
I can't do any of it.
No, I mean, I haven't tried, but it once was upon a time was my dream.
Well,
I have a dream.
So I can say this now because by the time this comes out, it will be after Tracy's birthday party. Like I'm leaving for New York tomorrow morning for a surprise birthday party for a friend. And it's been so hard lying to her, even though it's just via text.
Wow, you lie to your friends. That's crazy.
I'm like, is this something that I would say to her normally? Like, and I have to really think about it. So then today, like Erica went to Magic Kingdom today to ride Splash Mountain because it's about to close forever. Thank God I'm ready for Princess and the Frog. And I'm like, oh, I can't go tonight because I'm recording. So I made reservations for tomorrow. And I'm like, this is so hard just to lie. And I don't even have to worry about my tone. So I can't even imagine acting and then having to then do voice acting. So kudos to you, Morgan Freeman.
Yeah. Hats off.
And all of you out there. I feel like voice actors are a bit underrated.
Oh, voice actors are severely underrated. It sucks. So we're getting kind of off topic, but bear with us, folks. So when I went to some panels, there are some people that are like, hey, I voice acted this character and there's a casting call for the live action. Well, I went in and read for it and they're like, no, we want somebody like this. They don't even get their own part that they voice act, right? Which is crazy. Or like there's a problem with just pulling all these actors off the street. Like Chris Pratt, I'm not his biggest fan with voice acting. Sebastian Stan we kind of saw, but not everybody's built for voice acting. It really takes talent, learning how to fluctuate your voice and do certain things with your voice that you don't have to do acting. And on the flip side, I mean, voice actors going into doing regular acting doesn't always work out either. It's extremely hard. So acting on both ends of the spectrum, crazy talent, and even voice acting, because more often than not, you're by yourself. So,
right. It seems like it would be easy. You're just pretending.
You would think so, right? You're just talking almost and pretending, but no.
Yeah. No, the only time I did the WB set where you're on like the Friends set. I think I've mentioned this on here. And they're like, oh, you're going to play this part. And like, I'm like, oh, I know all these lines. I have this whole show memorized. It was terrible acting. I'm like, how did they do this?
Well, in that case, the director's intent for the Lego movie was for people not to know whether or not the set was real or animated. Much like with your acting, we can tell it's pretty bad acting. You're not telling the truth here. But in the movie here, they wanted it to be able to like, hey, is this real? Is it not real? And it actually uses computer generated animation of real Lego elements, which were achieved in a photoreal stop motion style. And then something even more cool in 2020, they introduced Lego Braille bricks to help kids create and learn Braille. That's awesome. Lego,
that is really cool,
is the backbone to society, folks.
Well, after they made their first non-yellow Lego head, they had to redeem themselves.
That's true. Well, what other fun facts do we have?
So the plural for Lego is Lego, not Legos.
It's like moose.
Exactly. Isn't the plural for moose meese?
No, but is Lego Lego?
I can't wait till you understand the moose reference in Supernatural.
Oh, here we go.
Because then I can tell you the real plural for moose.
Oh, okay.
Lego is the largest producer of rubber wheels. This includes Goodyear, Goodyear and other tire companies. During Christmas season, almost 28 Lego sets are sold each second.
Okay.
That doesn't surprise me in the least, but on average, there are 80 Lego bricks for every person on Earth. More than that in this house. Lego Duplo are 8 times the size of the regular ones, but they still stick together. But why don't you tell us about their environmental impact or future lack thereof?
While Lauren is busy smoking and ruining the environment, every time you open up a Lego box, it's filled with single-use plastic bags. Not good for the environment. But Lego has a solution, and their goal is to be rid of all of that by the year 2025. They have partnered with the WWF, no, not Vince McMahon, the World Wildlife Fund, and are working to reduce their CO2 impact as well as becoming more environmentally friendly in general. Look at, again, Lego. It's like Tom Hanks. If you hear something bad come out about the Lego Corporation or Tom Hanks, you're just going to be devastated at this point. Absolutely devastated. And sadly, Denmark is one of the countries that came to fruition at Epcot.
It did not. Apparently, I didn't proofread any of this. It did not come to fruition at Epcot.
How are you going to have me read that? Now you're making me look. What happened? Tell us about Denmark.
So in Epcot, you have the countries in the World Showcase, and those countries actually sponsor their showcase. So Denmark was set to sponsor their World Showcase, and they were even going to have a themed boat ride that was all going to be Legos.
We were robbed.
Fell through because instead they opened the Legoland theme park, which is somewhere over here.
It is.
I have successfully avoided going to it as my kids have both gone on field trips. I have heard it is targeted toward elementary age kids, and that is it.
They do have beer. The memo that more adults are buying toys these days.
I mean, obviously they have. Their marketing has grown people in it now.
That's true.
I had a friend who stayed here. It was right before COVID. It's probably 2019. And they stayed here and went to Legoland. And she's like, it was terrible. And her he just drank a bunch. But he's like, yeah, the beer choices were all right. But the rides, they're all little kid rides. And I feel like what Disney does best is Disney is a great combination of little kid, big kid, and adult. Universal has little kid areas and bigger kid and adult areas. They're harder mixing the two. But Disney just nails it. But apparently Lego, I'm good if I never go. So Kaylee and Brielle both went on field trips, and I'm sure Logan will too.
Right on. Well, how about, Star Wars Legos are big. I have a massive Star Wars Lego collection, and they've been coming out with some Star Wars Lego holiday specials. And so some fun facts about that. This is the Lego one that came out in 2020. So the first one came out the same date, November 17th, that the original Star Wars holiday special that came out in 1978. And it was 42-year difference. How fun. My favorite GIF of all time is using one of the creepy Wookiees that creepily smile. Like, I love using that GIF.
Oh, that's his kid.
Yeah, just go ahead and look up
Chewie's
that GIF.
son.
That's my favorite GIF of all time because it just gives off really creepy vibes. So.
Well, it's like they zoom in on it and you're supposed to be like, oh, look at the little kid on Life Day.
It's so terrifying.
This kid inside the suit's like melting. Like they could only have them on for like 20 minutes at a time before they like overheated.
Oh my God. There weren't fans back then, folks, but we did
like fans. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking like fans. Like, yay, fans.
Yay, the poor overheating child. No. Anyways, the word tip yip first appeared in Ben Burtt's 2001 book, Star Wars, the Galactic Phrase Book and Travel Guide, as the Ewokese translation for fowl, as in domesticated hen or rooster. As of 2019, various dishes such as fried Andorian tip yip are served at Galaxy's Edge, which is obviously the Disney Star Wars themed section of Disney. And it's even featured in The Mandalorian in the Barwin Din. I can never pronounce this last name. Djarin. Man, I suck at names. But
I assume it's just a silent D.
Where Mando and Boba first meet Bo-Katan in Chapter 16. Then, this also, the another one features the celebration known as Life Day. Life Day. and which was
He
first
just held up his Life Day cup.
I did, which was introduced in the original Star Wars Holiday Special in 1978. Now, a source of humor for fans, the original television special was heavily criticized and mocked. Due to this, George Lucas bought all master copies so it could never be broadcast again.
Look at this. This episode's coming full circle because we just talked about the documentary.
We did. However, it is possible to find it on the internet. We watched it on YouTube once, folks. It was not pretty.
Oh, yeah.
And
it took me, like, couldn't even do it in one sitting.
Yeah, so this may be one of the few episodes in Star Wars where the phrase "I've got a bad feeling about this" is not said by a character. However, Rey says, "I have a good feeling about this."
Because it's Life Day.
So
I liked the Lego special. It was really good.
Dude, they're really lighthearted. They're really cool. That makes me think. Let's roll into some favorite Lego sets. So I love Legos. I have a ton of Star Wars. I have a ton of Avengers and Batman Legos. Those are my primary collection right there. And so my favorites, my ultimate white whale, I will tell you right now, is the Daily Bugle. I have Avengers Tower. I have Avengers Compound. I have a lot of that. The Daily Bugle right now is my white whale. That's what I want to get. It used to be the Death Star, but fun fact about the Death Star. So years ago, when my wife and I first got together, she said that when I get my second kid, you make a certain rank at your work, you can get the Death Star. Well, I made that rank. She got her kid. I didn't get the Death Star. However, I did ultimately end up getting the Death Star years later. And that's like my prized baby right there. It's just majestic. It's so cool. It has a section with the trash compactor. It has a section where like Leia gets held. It has a section where there's Darth Vader's TIE fighter being hung up. It's got so many different cool sections to it. It was such a fun build. It took me a few days to build. That's my pride and joy right there. My ultimate favorite Lego set is the Death Star. It is my everything. Yeah, so good. Just so good. I'm just thinking about the beauty. Chef's kiss. But I do have some other fun builds though, like the Razor Crest was fun. I have a couple X-Wings. I've got the U-Wing from Rogue One. I've got the Jedi Starfighters that have come out from, I've got Yoda's, Anakin's, and Obi-Wan's. I have a UST version of the AT-ST Walker. I do have an AT-AT Walker and a Star Destroyer as well. So those are fun too. I've got like the Guardians of the Galaxy. I always forget the name of the ship off the top of my head right now, but I've got that one.
The Milano?
Yes, the Milano.
I forget that. Alyssa Milano.
I don't know, man. I'm just the lack of beer is getting to my head.
For shame.
And I've got the Batcave from the Batman. And I used to have like really cool old school Batman Legos that I lost and got rid of. I used to have a lot of the Star Wars Phantom Menace ones back from 2001 or 99. And unfortunately, I don't have those anymore. I've got some Harry Potter ones, but yeah, like I just love Legos, man. I can go on and on and on, but I know you have some Lego sets.
Not really.
Kids,
I don't
your
have
kids
any Lego
have some
sets.
Lego sets, which
My kids have Lego sets.
Didn't your daughter made your bar, didn't she, in Legos?
Yeah. So that was so both all three of my two oldest are into it. The younger one not so much. I did make him the mini Razor Crest that I talked about recently, and I found it in pieces in his room, and I was like, what happened? I made this, and he goes, it exploded. And I'm like, okay, that's factually correct.
How dare you?
But still. It was the mini one, but it was the first Lego I talked about it recently. It was the first Lego I put together completely by myself. I've always been the assistant. I find the pieces. It does not relax me. It stresses me out. To me, it's like putting together IKEA furniture. But I love taking pictures of the stuff with my beers. And for me, I like going to the cons and getting all the little mini Legos. So like all over my bar, I've got Stan Lee back here. Yeah. I've got Fat Thor. I got a little mini Soldier Boy. He's probably my favorite. I got a little Ahsoka. I got Captain Rex. I got a Palpatine. I got the Palpatine because of Spider-Man, because he has little Palpatine in Spider-Man. And I have Cad Bane. So I got some cool little ones. But my daughter did one time, probably during COVID, she came out and she's like, I made your bar. And so I have it like on my windowsill over there. And she made like a little bar and she put tables and she's like, this is where the beers are. And I have like turtle tin tacker, and she had like a sea turtle from one of her Lego sets, and she put that up at the top, and she did a pretty good job. It's pretty accurate.
That's impressive.
So kudos to her. I never got into it as a kid, so I guess I just never. Right. But I love how they look.
So I have them around my living room. I have all my living room set up right there that has all my Lego sets. I'm running out of space, but yeah, no, I just big fan of Lego sets. And you actually ran a poll on Instagram of some people's favorite Lego sets. So Stacy, who responded, she says that her favorite Lego set is her Van Gogh Starry Night. That's I don't have that one, but they have like Lego pictures and things like that. So that's what that one is. Tracy said succulents. Tracy, we got to get you some better Lego sets. But hey, everybody has different things, and she has flowers. These flowers can't die. These Lego flowers will last forever. Good news.
And they say succulents can't die, but I killed a succulent, so
we killed one too, so it's okay.
That makes me feel better.
And then Patrick said his Luke Skywalker land speeder display model, and then of course your Logan said his Razor. Oh, said the Razor Crest.
Yeah, that was the story. Yeah.
I read it, but yeah, so mine, like I said, it's my Death Star, man. So that's kind of what we have. If you have a favorite Lego set, let us know. I want to hear your favorite Lego sets. I want to see the pictures. Let us know what your favorite Lego set is. And do you have anything before we wrap up our Lego extravaganza?
That's about it. But it's funny when you say Death Star, I just picture what's his face from Spidey just dropping the Death Star.
Oh, Ned,
his best friend, whose name I'm blanking on.
Oh, thank God he forgot him. Oh, speaking of, I want to give a quick shout out to our Patreon, Riley, because for my birthday last year, he sent me the tall neck from my favorite video game, Horizon. And so that was one that was really fun to put together, and it's really cool. So I did a fun Lego build on that. You can catch on our YouTube. But so shout out to Riley for that. And he actually picked this episode today. So this episode is dedicated to our Patreon, Riley.
Yes, Jacob. Ned is the guy who dropped the
He did.
Death Star in Spider-Man.
Bitch.
Spider-Man Homecoming. Remember when he saw him in the thing? He dropped the whole Death Star.
I try to forget because they did that take multiple times.
So they had to put it together and keep dropping
They had a few different sets already built. And so
my God.
He was like, yeah, every time I kept dropping, I just felt horrible.
Oh my gosh, that's terrible. Yeah. That should have been like, we really need to get like when, you see people like shaving their head in movies. That should have been like we need to get this done in one take.
Yeah, but somebody got paid to build 3 different Death Stars. Sign me the fuck up.
There you go. There's the silver lining. Hey, look, that's a future job.
That's I'm just building Lego sets for people in movies. That's
I feel like
sign me up.
You have to build it on set because I feel like the transportation would just destroy it.
Trust me, it's a delicate process. Very delicate.
I feel like the only thing worse than transporting it is a younger sibling.
Yeah, I'm not looking
destroying it.
Transporting all my Legos again when I move this time and saran wrap them. Like I told Jason Mewes, I have to ask him. I know I need to ask, like, hey, did this work out for you? Because he was moving and he didn't know how to do with his Legos. And I gave him sound advice. Saran wrap. Trust me, if you're moving and you need to transport your Legos, saran wrap them. It keeps everything together. Sure, you might have some pieces that come apart, but trust me, it works.
Keep your books.
Keep all my books too. Keep all your books, and yeah, keep your books. Saran wrap when you move. And that's been your advice with Hops Geek News. But with all of that said, that has been the episode today. Next week, we are actually going to have Sean from Metalcore Nerds on, which I was just on his show talking about our 2023 most anticipated TV shows. He's coming on. We're going to wrap up phase 4 of Marvel, and we're going to dive into what we can't wait to see with Ant-Man right around the corner. We're going to talk phase 5 and 6 and beyond for Marvel. So make sure to tune in. I
can't believe we're on phase 5
next week for that. I know time flies when you're killing your favorite heroes and causing trauma. So I hope you had fun. As always, go subscribe to us, all that good stuff. Let us know what you want to see from an episode. And until next week, folks, cheers.